This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Friday, the 14th day of April in the year 2023. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. The Guyana Elections Commission has announced that all systems are in place for the smooth conduct of Nomination Day on Monday for the local government elections, which are set to take place in June. In a statement, it was explained that individuals and parties hoping to contest the upcoming local elections would be required to submit their list of candidates to the returning officer for their responsible local authority area. GECOM said during the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., political parties, voluntary groups, and individual candidates contesting the local elections are expected to submit their list of candidates to the respective returning officers. GECOM is urging contestants to ensure that their nomination lists are submitted using the prescribed statutory forms and in keeping with the stipulated guidelines. Those guidelines include attaching a title to the list of candidates, stating the requisite number of eligible candidates and nominators. All lists must bear the names, signatures, and ID card number for each of the candidates. GECOM said it must also be noted that lists of candidates that do not conform to the statutory requirements would be classified as defective, and the representative of the list would be given an opportunity to correct those defects. It said the statutory procedures following nomination day would ensure that all of the legal requirements are met by the contestants in order for their list of candidates to be approved to contest the elections. The Commission said while it has already approved a total of 64 symbols, approval to contest in the elections is only guaranteed upon the submission and approval of the list of candidates. GECOM also said it looks forward to a smooth process on nomination day, and it is confident in the ability of the staff at the respective offices to adhere to the legal provisions in the execution of their duties. More news coming up in just a moment. Stay with us.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say. But now that it's here, it will change life forever. And it is here to stay. The future is now. Transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
At Giftland Office Max, we're all about customer satisfaction. Whether it's clothing and shoes for the ladies, gents, and kids, or for the latest electronics or hardware appliance, we're always thinking of satisfying you, our dear customers. Now you can shop online at www.giftlandofficemax.com or visit us at the Giftland Mall, where we're happy to serve each and every one of you.
Bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors, that my crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster. Grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Bust the flavors. Bust the flavors.
Strong and solid in countries far and wide. New India Assurance, we're standing by your side. Golden service, half a century and more. New India Assurance, our policies are secure. From the heart of India, we serve these islands. The strength that you can trust, you're safe when you come to
New India Assurance Company. Assurance when you need it most.
For your home, motor or business insurance, visit New India Guyana office, 58 Brickdam next to Star Computers. Telephone 2260-415-7. Comfortable parking available.
Opposition leader and chairman of a Partnership for National Unity, Aubrey Norton, says he's working around the clock to finalize the party's list of candidates for the local government elections ahead of Nomination Day. Nomination Day is set for Monday. And according to reports reaching news source, Norton and his team are on the ground rounding up their candidates for the 12th of June local elections. During a press conference on Thursday, the opposition leader, though not specifically alluding to local elections, said his party has always been in preparation mode for elections.
We have been preparing for local government, for elections generally, from day one. We have done a lot of work on the ground. You will notice whenever we are on the ground, the next time the PPP comes out with some story, regardless of what, we will continue to be on the ground. We'll continue to work with our members and supporters and to go into other areas to ensure we sensitize people and prepare Guyana for a new government.
Norton predicted that aside from the pending local government elections, the government would call early elections long before 2025. Though the APNU chairman and PNC leader has not indicated with certainty that his party will contest the elections, he made it clear last week that the APNU is not prepared to let loose of its strongholds and was on the ground making the necessary preparations for the local elections. At the last local elections in 2018, the APNU lost 3 of the constituency seats in Georgetown. Georgetown is by far the largest local government area in the upcoming elections. Talks between the government and International Decade for People of African Descent Assembly Guyana IPADG on the reinstatement of the monthly subvention to the organization have broken down. Due to the breakdown, the Chief Justice, Roxanne George, has taken a decision to hear the case in full from June. The two sides, which have been at loggerheads over the issue of subvention since August of 2022, had initiated a process of mediation in February based on the instructions of the Chief Justice. But although some amount of progress was recorded during the last hearing in March, Attorney-at-Law Vivian Williams told the court today that the talks have hit rock bottom. He said the settlement talks have broken down irretrievably. Williams, who together with attorney Nigel Hughes is representing IPADG, attempted to offer an explanation, but was told by the Chief Magistrate that an explanation was not required. Asked to weigh in on the issue, the Attorney General confirmed that the talks have deteriorated. He said unfortunately the two sides were unable to arrive at a compromise. The Chief Justice, upon hearing the two sides, said there was no need for a trial. However, the case brought by IPADG will be heard in full. IPADG has been ordered to make its written submissions on or before the 4th of May, while the state, the defendant in the matter, is expected to file its submissions by the 25th of May. The oral arguments have been set for the 13th of June from 1:30 in the afternoon. Back in March, both Williams and the state's principal legal advisor told the court that the government had reaffirmed its commitment to support the work of IPADG and was therefore prepared to reinstate the subvention. But a day later, the Attorney General Anu Nandlal, who was not present for the court hearing on that particular day, told news source that no agreement had been reached. He explained that while the two sides had initiated discussions on the way forward, they were far from reaching a final agreement. During an earlier hearing of the case, the Chief Justice said the issue was a national embarrassment for Guyana. And in a statement this afternoon, the Attorney General's chambers said while a part of the budgeted sum for the organization for the year 2022 is the subject of legal proceedings, the monies budgeted and appropriated for this year are not. And therefore, the government plans to disperse the 2023 subvention to 55 organizations, which it says represents Afro-Guyanese across the country. Organizations that the government said are the founding members of IPADG. Well, the CARICOM Secretary General, Dr. Carla Barnett, believes that the regional body has made enormous progress in the past 50 years, from the establishment of the Caribbean Development Bank to the setting up of the Caribbean Court of Justice. However, Dr. Barnett is of the view that much more can be done to advance the work of CARICOM. Addressing a symposium today, which marked the 50th anniversary of the Caribbean community, Dr. Barnett said though the regional and global environment has changed considerably since the signing of the original Treaty of Chaguaramas in 1973 and the revised treaty in 2001, the fundamental objectives and principles of regional integration remain more valid than ever. She said the lag in the implementation of an efficient transportation system has adversely affected intra-regional trade and the ease of travel for people throughout the community. She also said the non-tariff barriers that impeded the flow of trade have created unnecessary friction. Actions by officials at points of entry threaten to become a detriment to CARICOM citizens wishing to visit or seek employment in another member state, the Secretary General noted. She also said none of the challenges facing CARICOM is insurmountable. The Secretary General said CARICOM intends to overcome those challenges as it looks forward to the next 50 years. CARICOM has 4 pillars: economic integration, human and social development, foreign policy coordination, and security cooperation. According to the Secretary General, those pillars remain the primary focus as the community rise to the challenges of the new era. She noted the need for flexibility of action, receptivity to change, and clarity of purpose and vision in adapting the CARICOM integration framework to address time-changing national, regional, and global imperatives. In March of last year, the heads of government of CARICOM agreed to adopt a protocol on enhanced cooperation, which allows a subgroup of member states that are ready to implement a decision to do so with other countries. This replaces the former process which required all member states to agree to move forward before any could. Dr. Barnett said the change is a significant marker on the path of reforms in the way the community conducts its affairs.
Individuals are reminded that when filing an individual income tax return, if you have multiple employers, you must file only one individual income tax return. However, the original of each emolument 7B slip obtained from the respective employers must be attached to the return, and the aggregated income should be used to compute your taxes. Remember, only one individual income tax return must be submitted to the Guyana Revenue Authority for individuals with multiple employers.
Get ready for the ultimate event as Mackenzie Alumni Association presents official Night of Elegance. Reunion and fundraiser. It's going down on Friday, 21st of April at the Edward Benjamin Conference Center, Linden, Guyana. Ticket donation $50 dinner included. Come and enjoy the vibes from old school R&B and hip hop. It's the official Night of Elegance. Night of Elegance.
The Guyana Press Association has again raised concerns over the treatment of journalists in Guyana. The association is now requesting international assistance to fight the harassment and cyberbullying of media workers in the country. In a statement, the Guyana Press Association condemned the latest attack on a Kaitra News journalist on a Facebook page titled Live in Guyana. The GPA said the page is known to be operated by agents of the governing People's Progressive Party. The Press Association said this is not the first time that the page has attacked and put journalists and their safety in jeopardy. And the latest attack follows questions that senior leaders of the government found objectionable during a press conference. The press body said it remains in contact with several regional and international organizations and has also made known its concerns about the safety of journalists in Guyana. The GPA in its statement said it is publicly urging the international community to fight the harassment of media operatives in Guyana. The association said it will endorse any effort by media workers to have the Guyana Police Force investigate the violations of the Cybercrime Act, as well as the violation of the rights of women by the Women and Gender Equality Commission. The GPA is also seeking the solidarity of women rights groups in condemning the latest star-studded attack against a female member of the media corps by the Live in Guyana Facebook group. The GPA indicated that it has noted the attempts to harass media workers whenever certain questions are asked at press conferences with government officials. It said with a significant majority of media workers being women, the GPA urges all media workers to ensure that the leadership of the GPA is always in a position to defend the collective rights locally, regionally, and internationally of media workers. In recent weeks, Vice President Bara Jagdeo has been up in arms with a number of journalists from the privately owned Culture News over questions that were asked of him at various press conferences. 2 Guyanese women have been remanded to jail in Jamaica after they were busted with more than 20 pounds of cocaine at the Sangster International Airport in Jamaica. They appeared in court on Wednesday and were remanded to jail. According to reports out of Jamaica, 21-year-old Usharu Moses and 27-year-old Abiki Moses, who are both from Georgetown, Guyana, were charged with possession of dealing in, attempting to export, and conspiracy to export cocaine. According to the police in Jamaica, both women checked in at the airport around 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday to board a departing flight to the United Kingdom. During a search of their luggage, cocaine weighing 21 pounds was allegedly discovered hidden inside the false compartments of those suitcases. At the hearing, no application for bail was made on their behalf. Attorney-at-law Henry McCurdy, who is representing both women, asked for a new mention date so that arrangements could be made for him to receive copies of essential documents for the case. The presiding parish judge then remanded the 2 women to custody until the case returns to court on the 20th of April.
Food Max Supermarket, located on the ground floor at the Giftland Mall, is your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. We stock a variety of imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce, and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Look who's in the mix now. The new Buster Soda Water. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 artificial flavors. 100% refreshing. Taste Buster Soda Water today. Buster Soda Water. Now available for only $120.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, Brazil has reset its diplomatic ties with China, its largest trading partner, with a state visit by the Brazilian president to China. The 2 leaders agreed to boost investments and cooperation on technology and sustainable development while urging peace talks in Ukraine. Brazilian President Lula da Silva and several of his ministers signed accords with the Chinese President Xi Jinping and other Chinese officials in Beijing. President Xi said China has made relations with Brazil a diplomatic priority, and the 2 countries should deepen practical cooperation in sectors including agriculture, energy, and infrastructure construction. The National Security Minister in Trinidad and Tobago, Fitzgerald Hines, said his government has no intention of calling a state of emergency in response to the escalation of crime, especially murders, in Trinidad and Tobago. and he has put to rest calls for him to devise a crime plan, saying it is not his job. In the last few days, there have been repeated calls for a state of emergency to be imposed to deal with a rise in home invasions and murders across Trinidad and Tobago. But speaking with the media on Thursday, the security minister said one was implemented in 2011. He said it was later revealed that the then Commissioner of Police, Dwayne Gibbs, was unaware that there would have been a state of emergency to deal with crime and criminality, which was his main mandate as the Commissioner of Police. The National Security Minister also addressed questions about him coming up with a crime plan. He said a government minister does not generate or create any crime plan. And finally tonight, international news. The U.S. airman accused of leaking confidential intelligence and defense documents has been officially charged in a court appearance in Boston, in the U.S. 21-year-old Jack Teixeira wore shackles and a prison uniform as he stood before a federal judge. After a shout of "Love you, Jack" from a person in the courtroom, the defendant replied, "You too, Dad." Mr. Teixeira faces up to 15 years in prison over charges of unauthorized transmission of defense information. He's also charged with the unauthorized removal and retention of classified U.S. documents. The airman faces up to 10 years in jail for the first charge and up to 5 years in prison for the second. The dozens of leaked documents had revealed U.S. assessments of the war in Ukraine, as well as sensitive secrets about American allies. The leaks embarrassed Washington and raised fresh questions over the security of classified information. Mr. Teixeira was arrested by armed FBI agents at his family home on Thursday. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight and this week. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.